What the Austin police do as federal minions is they don't enforce federal laws and state laws that are the law. And then they enforce imaginary laws on citizens. We're the slaves, we're the milk cows, we're the property. We've got to be kept defanged in line to pay them. Now, I remember 5 years ago, Vicente Fox gave an award to Austin as the #1 sanctuary city. Illegal aliens can drink and drive. They can do everything. And I've told the story of pulling into my parking lot one night, about 8 o'clock. My IT guy was in handcuffs. I got out. The cops jumped out, got real angry. They said, "Oh, Alex Jones, we're fans. Oh, just wondering what you were doing in our investigation." They said, "We went through your building to make sure he wasn't robbing anything. Yeah, we saw him pull in here, and so we pulled in, and his license was expired." I go, "Why are you arresting him?" I go, "Let me guess, you don't arrest illegal aliens." And he goes, "No, we have a unwritten policy. We get in trouble." He goes, "I don't care. I'm retiring in 6 months, but it is wrong. The judges just let him go, so no revenue comes in. So again, the illegals are above the law, but they know citizens are mad about that. So they say, we shut down the gun show because there'd been a few cases in the last few years with another gun show operator where a private citizen came in legally. It was still legal. And, because the person didn't say they were illegal and did this. But Ryan, who came to work here from a Craigslist ad, we don't tell you where you're getting hired when we hire, he worked at the city in customer service, and it was stated that citizens have to have 3 forms of ID to get power or gas to the city or trash, and you've got to jump through all these hoops. But illegal aliens don't. And at Access TV, they have a policy where the illegal aliens don't need any ID in the past. I don't know if it's still that case. So they are above the law because the government wants them here to drive down the wages and bankrupt the country and become citizens and then pull the lever for gun control and open borders. So they're here, and that's the end of it, and they're going to become our cops, and they are, and that's the end of it. Because it's New World Order. But I wanted to bring Ryan up. Ryan, briefly tell folks what you were telling me during the break.
Basically, here's the deal. If you're a citizen, you have to provide Social Security number, driver's license number, date of birth, all of that. If you are a citizen of Mexico and you've come over here illegally, you only have to provide one type of ID, which is called the Matricula Consular. And they hand
that out to anybody that pays $25.
Anyone that pays $25, you go to the Mexican consulate. It's not issued by us, and they get it, and they bring it to us with $200 cash, and they get services, and there's no way we can collect. Basically, the citizens have to pay the fee if they run out on their bill, which they often do.
And I remember the AP 3 years ago where in the Banking Association said, we give loans to illegals with no credit, no nothing, because it's so important to help them. So, again, they are God because they are meant to bring down the country. I'm not even saying they're bad people. The point is they are first-class citizens. We are slaves. But the Austin police we did shut it down to stop the illegals. I mean, it's just so proud of their lawlessness.
Exactly. And, with the Matricula Consular, you'll find the same person will apply for services under 5 different names. All they have to do is just get a new one under a new name. There's really no checking. There's no ID.
Well, that's
required.
What the Republican leader of the Senate, I was like 5 years ago, I interviewed him, I forget his name, in Colorado. He went out one day and in 2 hours got 4 different consular matriculas for $100 and was able to then go get on welfare. He did it as a stunt. It was in the Denver Post. And, it's just unlimited. No wonder the illegals are driving around in luxury vehicles and citizens that play by the rules are going bankrupt.
Exactly. You got one set of rules for a citizen, another set of rules for somebody that doesn't have any business being here in the first place.
And I guess everybody at the city just thought that was normal. And they told you this is a sanctuary city.
No, as employees, we usually fought against it, but management would tell you, look, we're a sanctuary city, that's the policy, and, you don't question it.
And just the policy trumps federal and state law. But then there's no law, and the cops shut the gun show down and just say, look, we have the weapons, shut up.
Exactly.
I appreciate your call. Now, I'm going to go to Lisa, Ross, Rudy, John, and Rob, and I'm going to play more of this tomorrow. I've just run out of time because this is so poignant, so powerful, so well documented. And for people that aren't PrisonPlanet.tv viewers watching the live stream right now, it's on YouTube, North Korean camps, North Korea, and it's a British documentary crew. In fact, I wanted to get these guys on when I first saw this a year ago, and very few have made it out of the camps. But this guy's got electrical burns on him, huge third-degree burns from the electrical fence. There's no power for the citizens, but there's power for the fence. They artificially keep him in starvation mode to control them. He was born in a prison. Most of the population lives in quasi-prison camps. All they dream about is food. They're almost a foot shorter, and they just like slaves were known as the little people. You know, my ancestors in England and France and other places in Germany, you know, nobles were known for being tall, and the slaves, the serfs were known as little people because you were kept at starvation level. This is a system of control, and they cut his finger off. They hang you up by hooks by your stomach. He's got scars all over him. And then they also interview somebody who just lived in regular North Korea, starving children everywhere, selling human meat. I want to play some of this because this is when you have a total state around you. And even though he's been out of North Korea for years, he still says, well, I guess they did have to execute my parents. So here is part of this piece, North Korea camps, North Korea. It's up on YouTube. Here's part of it.
In the South Korean capital of Seoul, we've made contact with a young man of 26 years who, until 2 years ago, didn't know that a world existed outside of the barbed wire.
I didn't know, not at all, not until I escaped.
He quite simply thought the whole world was a prison camp. He didn't know that the country North Korea existed, that something exists outside of that country. He didn't even know that the mastermind behind his miserable life was Kim Jong-il. The children from Camp 14 were so worthless that they didn't deserve knowledge of the life and thoughts of the dear leader. Shin Dong-hyuk is not special in the sense that he has escaped the North Korean prison system. Tens, if not hundreds of thousands of prisoners are locked up there, and a few have managed to escape. But he's unique in the sense that he's the only one known to have escaped a so-called special control zone. That's a special camp system within the camp system, where prisoners are expected to spend their whole life. He's the only one who has come out alive and has been able to tell his story. We meet Shin at an old prison. Here the Japanese kept, tortured and murdered Korean patriots before and during the Second World War. It's an environment that he recognizes immediately.
I was in a cell exactly like that.
Shin Dong-hyuk's story began on the 19th of October 1982. His parents were prisoners in Camp Number 14, isolated in the mountains north of the North Korean capital of Pyongyang. The reason why is not known, but as a reward for good behavior, they were selected for marriage and put together in a cell for 5 days. 9 months later, Shin was born behind the fence. One thing followed him every day.
We were always hungry.
The little boy was placed with his mother, but she worked every day in the mountains and mines from 5 in the morning. When she returned around midnight, she had no time for the boy. She often beat him. He learned nothing about common humanity.
I had no real feelings when I was a kid.
Two categories of people inhabited the world behind the wire.
Those who made mistakes were prisoners. Those who made no mistakes were guards.
In the eyes of the little boy, the starved and sometimes beaten woman who returned to him at night was the cause of his suffering.
My mom had made mistakes, so it was only natural that we should live like this. I didn't even want to know why.
Hit pause. Notice how, again, breeding them like animals as slave labor in the mines and cutting timber, and he still believes it's because his parents made mistakes. And so he deserves to be there. And see, that's now, a couple of illegal aliens in a parking lot were able to buy guns a few years ago. Now you don't get to have gun shows. See, and now France, 152 men and women killed each other in marriage. The government's going to send in basically adult services to monitor all marriages now. If you raise your voice, we're going to arrest you. We're going to take your kids. See, we're all being taught we're all prisoners because 150 people in 2008, out of 61 million in France, 61,500,000, now you're all guilty. Oh, somebody wrecked text messaging, so nobody can even look at their cell phone now in most cities. Oh, some terrorist attacks, so now all of you have to go through naked body scanners and have your body recorded. I mean, this is what all tyrannies lead to. This is what they want. Psychopaths enjoy people in slave pits. They like it. You like a big plate of enchiladas and going to a football game? They like raping little kids. And you're